If you love Chevys, then this is the place for you. This is the Menards Chevy series, where we tour the country to find the finest race cars and rides that are part of the bow tie breed.
Welcome to Auto Club Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California for this week's Menards Chevy Series event. Normally I'm in the backseat of one of these things, but this week I got to cruise in here in the Caprice. It's awesome. You know, the one great thing about California car culture, on one side you get a 9C1 Caprice, and on the other side you have a beautiful 61 Chevrolet Bubble Top Impala. We have a lot of great cars to show you this week, so we're gonna get right to our first producer's pick. So one of the most iconic looks out of Chevrolet from the 1950s, especially during their Tri-5 era, was the Nomad. It was actually a styling exercise that got turned into a production car and became an American icon. Greg Lamperti has one of the most beautiful Nomads we have seen. This car is spectacular. The first thing I gotta ask you though, the paint, man. Tell me about this paint scheme.
The paint is creamsicle, ice cream bar, and black. I spent 9 years, stripped the car to the bare metal myself. The body was on a rotisserie. I did all the body work and the painting myself in my garage. It's a 327 that has bigger pistons and roller rockers, a few little goodies in it with a Muncie 4-speed and a Ford 9-inch rear end with 4-wheel disc brakes.
Car is obviously built to drive, as nice and as gorgeous as it is. How often do you get it out?
Every chance we have. It's been on the road for about a year and a half now. I'm a Nomad addict. This is my 5th one since 1972.
That is a pretty stunning deal. So many Nomads have been here in the grounds of Famoso, pulling drag cars and race cars up to the staging lanes. It is great to see one that's finished in the condition this one is. Congrats on all your hard work.
Thank you very much.
The Chevrolet Suburban is the longest running model in GM and especially Chevrolet's history. But back in 1951, a Chevy Suburban was a vehicle made to move people and do work. In Cliff Hill, this Chevrolet Suburban is a truck that hadn't done a lot of work in a long time when you got a hold of it.
Right, that's right. It's been pretty well laid up.
So you found this thing, which is basically on the verge of going to the wrecking yard, and really saved it.
Well, there was no motor, transmission rear end, no upholstery, no glass. Back windows was welded over. I started on it. It took me about a year and a half to get it close to where this is right now.
What attracted you to a Chevy Suburban? I mean, we don't see a lot of them, especially this era.
I just knew it was a rare piece to work on, and so that's what I did. I just fell for it.
The process you went through to bring this back, what was your favorite part of the whole deal?
I guess getting the engine and transmission rear end back in it, getting it movable. I guess that was then the body work came along. It took time. I did it in my patio, backyard.
So, listen, there are guys that are half your age that start on a project that take them 4 years to finish inside an air-conditioned shop. You're telling me in a year and a half on your own patio behind your house you did this?
Just every day I go to have my coffee and come back and go to work.
Well, the Chevrolet Suburban was an icon in 1951. It's still an icon today, but boy, they don't build them like they used to. This week's OPGI Original Award winner is a very interesting car. Throughout Chevrolet's history, racing has had a big effect on the company, maybe none more so than during the 1980s in stock car racing. This 1987 Monte Carlo Aero Coupe is a direct result of the company's efforts to go faster on the high banks. Robert Leclerc, you own this car. Tell me about that back window and tell me about the rest of this car.
Well, basically the back window was started in '86, and from what I understand, there were only 286s made. In '87, there were 6,000 of them made out of the total production run. The SS started in like '81, I believe, for the front end, for the nose on it. The other rumor that I've heard, and I don't know how to confirm it, that this is the winningest body style in NASCAR history.
Well, that fastback style window, of course, an effort to get the air kind of cleanly over the back of the car. You have made some efforts to punch this car through the air a lot faster than it would have stock with the motor. Tell me about the engine.
Well, the engine is basically a stock LS2 out of an 06 GTO, along with a 4L60E that came with it.
You can always pick out kind of a perfectionist in the crowd because he's the guy that wants to paint his car black. If you're going to paint a car black, it's got to be perfect. You spent a lot of time on this one.
Yes, we did. There's over 400 hours of block sanding on the car. We got 3 coats of color, 3 coats of clear, and then a final real fine color sand, and then a half and half clear and thinner top coat of clear.
And OPGI, obviously they make a lot of great parts for these cars. Talk to me about anything you source from them.
Over the years, I've sourced a lot of stuff from them, and I was a Southern California boy, so they were close by.
Well, you've done a magnificent job with this Monte Carlo. It is unique, it is cool, and it makes a lot of power. You've hopped up the motor with the GM hot cam and all. Enjoy driving it, because we sure have enjoyed looking at it.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments.
There's plenty more of the Menards Chevy series to come, including an uncommon kind of Corvair. Stay with us.
This episode of Menards Chevy Series is being brought to you by Dustless Blasting. It's the future of surface preparation. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. And by EvapoRust, super safe rust remover.
Welcome back to the Menards Chevy series here at Auto Club Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California. You know, the biggest defining factor of a 60s Corvair is the fact that the engine should have been located back there, but clearly this guy has got a better idea. Got a small block Chevy stuck up in the front of this thing. We have an owner of another very unique Corvair. His motor's in the right place. Well, the words Corvair and truck may not go together for many people. They certainly do for Richard Taylor. Richard, you have one of the most interesting vehicles at this event here at Bakersfield. Tell me what I'm looking at.
That's a 1963 Corvair ramp side. They're designed for gardeners in light construction. As far as I could tell, they made 18,250 of them, and I can't find out how many are left now.
Like a normal Corvair, the engine is located in the back of this thing, right? And is it the same power plant the car's used?
Just basically the same. It's a flat 6 in dual carburetors, and average horsepower is about 85 to 110 horse.
How is it to drive? Obviously, in seating position, you're basically sitting right on top of the tire up front here.
Yeah, it handles just fine. I mean, I don't drive it over 60 miles an hour, so I don't have no problem with the wind or anything like that.
Well, we also like the gas tank, which I understand is almost near impossible to find an original one that's in any decent shape. So how'd you come up with the keg?
Well, being I'm retired out of the oil fields, one of the guys that I work with is a good friend of mine. And he goes, let's put a beer keg back there. I got one at the house. I'll weld it up. And that's what we came up with. And the cap is kind of like old school we used to do on the tractors years ago.
Now it's time to meet this week's LMC Truck Life Award winner. Well, back in 1968, when somebody walked into a Chevrolet dealership and bought themselves a two-wheel drive, half-ton short bed truck, they probably bought something they were going to use around the house, maybe haul some mulch around with it to work on the lawn. And little did they know that maybe almost 50 years later, that truck would be turned into the fantastic piece we have here behind us. Tony Giazavito, tell me about your 1968 Chevy C10.
It's got a small block crate engine in it, 350, 400 turbo transmission behind it. Just basically a resto. You know, nothing fancy, just off the showroom floor type, 18s on it. Cleaned up the look, lowered it a little bit, and pretty much just a driver.
And I want to ask you about your use of LMC parts, because I understand there's a bunch of them on here.
Yes, there is. Yes, the front end had a little fender bender a few years ago, and basically the whole front clip is LMC, pretty much. Yeah.
You know, this is not a theme truck per se, but your Cowboys fandom clearly shows.
Yes, I am. It wasn't really necessarily built for as a theme. We actually were going to paint the whole top silver, and I just think it was going to be too much work to stripe everything out and in. So we just put the stripe on it, and it worked out to be where it's kind of a cowboy kind of theme by the time it was all said and done. And then softening the interior with the gray. So.
And suspension-wise, how much is the truck lowered?
It is a 2 and a 4 drop. With the Fat Man spindles in the front and then the rear also.
Well, it sits well. Obviously, it's designed to drive. You guys cruised it here today, and you've been having fun with this thing for years now, right?
About 5 years, actually. Yep. The first show was in Pismo, the classic that they have there, when we got it done, like 2 weeks before we got it done. So.
Well, congratulations on your LMC Truck Life Award here. It's a great truck, man, and who knew? They bought this thing almost a half century ago. Now it's as cool as it is.
Don't go away. The Menards Chevy Series has plenty more to come from Auto Club Famoso Raceway, including a fantastic Flame 38 sedan.
Welcome back to the Menards Chevy Series here at historic Auto Club Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California. You know, there's a lot that goes into making a series like this work. One of the major pieces for the success of the Menards Chevy Series, rockauto.com. I'm here with Tom Taylor from Rock Auto. Tom, tell me a little bit about Rock Auto and how you guys are able to supply people with 38 Chevys all the way to modern day cars.
You know, most of our customers are fixing their daily drivers. They come to rockauto.com. They can quickly find the correct parts for their car, choose the manufacturer they prefer, and save a bunch of money. But for classics and hot rods, we're also perfect too, because a car may have brakes from an 86 Ford Bronco and an engine from a 2005 Corvette. So if you go into a conventional parts store and try to explain that, they're likely to just throw up their hands. And our catalog, you can go in and say, hey, I can look up the 86 Ford brakes I have. There's a picture that matches what I know is on my car. There's no markups for classic cars or anything, and you get the parts you need quickly delivered right to your home or business.
We may be here in sunny Southern California, but the Rock Auto customer is around the globe.
Absolutely, we sell every continent except Antarctica.
And even there, you're working on them too.
Yeah, they might have a Jeep or two or something there, but yeah, foreign cars, American cars overseas, U.S. military stationed around the world, we supply them all. So.
Well, thanks so much, Tom. We have a Rock Auto customer here with a gorgeous 1938 Chevrolet. We're going to go check it out right now. This week's Rock Auto Restored winner here in Bakersfield, California is really cool. 1938 Chevy sedan. Harold Smith is the owner of the car. This thing is cool for a multitude of reasons, but for starters, you don't see a lot of 1938 Chevy sedans running around.
No, they're mostly Fords. Yeah, very few Chevys around.
Well, you definitely built a car to drive. You got a fuel-injected small block in the front of it. You got air in the front as well. Talk to me about some of the challenges about packaging, the air suspension, and some other things here, because you got a really narrow nose to work with on this car.
Yeah, we put the air conditioning stuff behind the fender on the right side for the air conditioning, and then put the air compressor and the storage tank for the air on the left fender.
Very reliable drivetrain. You get a 10-bolt GM axle under the back of it. How often do you get the car out?
Every couple of weeks we go somewhere with it.
One of the things that really make this car stand out is a gorgeous, gorgeous paint job. So tell me about the flames.
Well, the flames were done by Cal Concepts here in Bakersfield. They just do fabulous work. Of course, they do a lot of the tuner cars and the wild paint jobs. I just wanted some simple flames. They were delivered well.
Rock Auto's a place you can find parts for virtually anything, even a 38 Chevy Street Rod. Have you got some great parts off of Rock over the course of working on this car?
Oh yeah, in fact, the air filter, and there's quite a few other little things that came from Rock Auto.
Harold Smith, thank you so much. Enjoy the car. We sure have. The late 1930s represent one of the most iconic eras in the styling of American cars, and they make great-looking hot rods and street rods. As Virgil Sandiford knows, Virgil, your 1937 Chevrolet Business Coupe caught our eye, and it obviously caught yours. How did you come to own this car, and tell us what you've done to it?
Well, I looked for it probably a few years. I ran across, I liked the look of the car, bought it. Spent 2 years of finishing up the way I wanted it to look in the inside and out, you know, the upholstery and the engine and drivetrain, and enjoying it now. It's a Ford Pinto front end, and it's pretty low, so you get a little bump in it. It's a Nova, stock Nova rear end with a 700R drivetrain with a 383 stroker engine.
You're a man among my own taste, because this is a very classy car. The interior of this car is really comfortable. Looks like it was designed to really rack up some miles.
Yeah, very comfortable. I drove it from 30 miles east of LA up here, and no problem.
Very cool. Now these cars, guys made them into gassers and everything else, and you know, being some of our East Coast Menards Chevy Series events, we don't see a lot of this classic iron, but out here in Bakersfield, there's a bunch. Yours stood out from the crowd, so congratulations on doing such a nice job finishing this one.
We'll be back in a moment with more beauties from Bakersfield on the Menards Chevy Series. Stay with us.
Menards Chevy Series is being brought to you in part by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize. Z-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system. Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. And by MRT Performance, for performance car parts and servicing.
Welcome back to Auto Club Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California. We're here, chock full of cool cars at the Menards Chevy Series event. And you know, one thing about Bakersfield, it's a drag strip. And drag racing, well, it may be very simple in theory. You're gonna get to the starting line to the finish line quickly. It's how you do it is what separates the people that compete in the sport. And Dean Shank, you are here with your 2005 Blazer. This thing is awesome. Tell me about it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this car was actually replaced an '87 S10 Blazer that I hit the wall in Medford, Oregon with. It's a 640 Pat Musey motor. It's got 2 kits of nitrous on it. It's a very small tune-up in it. We've run it very conservatively. It would probably run a tenth or so faster, but consistency is the name of the game. And we try to maintain that.
Well, it is spectacular. You know, Top Sportsman for years was defined by guys like you that built really cool, interesting stuff. A lot of people going for these modern aerodynamic body styles, but you're keeping it real with the Blazer. It is awesome, and thanks for bringing it here at Bakersfield.
You betcha. Thank you very much.
Well, that's a beautiful Blazer, and this is a beautiful drag strip. Let's go meet the man that runs Auto Club Famoso Raceway. Blake, the Vice President of Operations at this historic racetrack. Tell me how long you guys have been in business.
The track has actually been operating since 1954, and the first organized big race that put us on the map was the March Meet 1959. Been running ever since.
Very busy season. You operate here at Famoso Raceway. Tell me about it.
Started in mid-February, as soon as we finished the first national event, the Winter Nationals, and we hit the ground running, and we finish up this very race right here. So mid-February, mid-November, and we race when we can, except holidays. Any of our Summit Bracket Series, we run 8 of those a year, and we send our competitors to the ET Finals, if you will, and then from there it goes to a national championship. So we're all part of that, and we run, like I said, an 8-race program out here with Summit ET Series, and along with plenty of testing and plenty of street legal races. And
you guys maybe burn more nitro than anybody else in the country out here.
I think we do. Usually at the March Meet or the reunion, we got about 65 plus nitro burning cars on the property. It's pretty cool to see.
Well, there are a few cars more iconic in the history of the American automobile than a 1969 Camaro. And this week's DriveDuracell.com award winner is just that, a Hugger Orange 69 Camaro convertible that even in the sea of awesome Camaros we have here in Bakersfield stands out amongst the crowd. Chris Michelson, this car is gorgeous, and it's got a couple of options that a lot of 69 Camaro convertibles don't have.
Right, yeah, this one's one of a few that only has working power windows and a matching factory air conditioner. So me and my dad actually bought the car about 2 years ago. It was an internet purchase from out of state. Wasn't really what it was on in the ad, but you know, we pretty much tore the car apart, redid it, and here it is today.
The workmanship in the car is incredible. The paint is gorgeous. Of course, Hugger Orange with a white top and the white houndstooth interior. It doesn't get much more iconic than that. What's your favorite part about the car?
I like the convertible part. You know, my dad doesn't like to put it down, just because he doesn't want to get the top ruined. But you know, that's probably my favorite part.
Was there ever a question when you had it if you're going to restore it back to factory or if you're going to modify it, or was it always going to be a restoration?
It was always going to be a restoration. My dad had 2 back when I was a little kid. Same concept, but you know, he doesn't like the modified. He wants to keep it classic. So here it is.
One modern upgrade we made, the addition of the Duracell battery. How does that thing work to fire the small block up?
Works perfect. I just want to thank Duracell for this opportunity and choosing this car.
And congratulations. Every inch of this thing is perfect. Even got the mirrors set up to look underneath, and the bottom of the car is as clean as the top. Congrats, Chris. Good work by you and your dad.
Thank you.
Well, this week's Minnie's Top Dog Award winner is a 1972 Camaro, and saying that's like saying that the Empire State Building's pretty tall. This is a gorgeous 1972 Camaro. Steve Butler, this is your car, and it's about the details of this thing. So, man, the obvious is that the paint's beautiful. Give me some details.
Well, we started out with just a bare bones Camaro. We shaved all the marker lights, changed the door handles. We didn't like the stock door handles in it. Made a fiberglass dash, took out all the switches, hid the switches, changed the center console to a full-blown fiberglass center console. If it can be powder coated, it's powder coated. We went so far as even the engine block is powder coated. It's not painted.
It is magnificent on every level. The motor, is it a stock displacement small block, or tell me what's going on there?
Absolutely not. It's a 350 small block. We've built it, bored 30 over. Got a pretty heavy cam in it, flat top pistons, aluminum heads. It's pushing about 400 horse, give or take.
Sure.
It's enough to scare the wife, and that's all she wanted.
The work you've done on the nose, I think, is very cool because people that know Camaros must walk up to us and go, hey, wait a second.
It's a 3-piece nose on a stock Camaro. We have MIG and TIG welded all the seams in, so there's no seams. It's a 1-piece front end now. It was all about just streamline. That's what we were trying to go for. It was difficult at first. We went through a couple front ends, but it was labor of love,
And it's a labor of love because the car drives so well, and that's the beauty of this whole situation is that this car gets used.
It gets used. It does not sit in the garage at all. We drive it on the weekends. We go to dinner in it. We go out and meet our friends with it. We hang around with a lot of hot rodders, and we go out and we show it all over the place. We drive it.
Talk to me about the upholstery on the inside of the car, because that too stands out. Are the seats Camaro seats, or they come from something else?
Yes, they are. They're stock Chevy Camaro seats out of a 72. We have taken 6 inches off the top. That way you could see the upholstery in the back seat. Because we'd come up with such a good idea, we didn't want to hide it.
Sure.
So we left the original seat. We just chopped it down 6 inches, kept everything else original.
Well, congratulations on the Minis Top Dog Award this weekend. Well earned. It is a magnificent Camaro.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, for everybody who's jealous of the physical climate here in California that preserves the cars so well, consider this. You're looking at a 220,000-mile original paint, original motor, 1989 Camaro convertible. And yeah, it's making us jealous too. Unbelievable. We're going to be back with more Menards Chevy Series action next week from Shreveport, Louisiana. We're going to Bayou Country. We hope you come join us then.